Spring is right around the corner, and it's a perfect time to get ready for those home improvements. First thing we want to do is look at painting. What a perfect way to get our house into shape. First, you got to look at the paint can. There's nothing worse than spilling paint all around the edge. I've got an important solution for that. Go ahead and grab you a clear plastic bottle. On this bottle, we want to cut it off just at the top. Once it's cut off, you're going to slip it right over the paint can. It's going to be a snug fit, but that's what we're looking for. Go ahead and take one of your hair dryers or a heat gun, and you're going to start heating it up all around the side. Once it starts heating up, it's going to form and seal itself to the edge of the paint can. Once you get it all the way around and you get it cooled down, look at that. It pours absolutely perfect. And since you got a lid, you can put the lid on, and it's going to keep it nice and fresh and clean for you every time. Colors in a room, especially on the corner or an edge where two walls meet, you can make it where it has a nice crisp line with no bleed under. What you do is you take that painter's tape and go ahead and put it right down where you want it. Here's the catch though. Take some caulk from a caulking gun and lay it on top of the paint right at the edge of that tape. When you put it on there, just rub it all through, and it's going to fill in those gaps, even on those heavy textured walls. Once you get it on there, go ahead and take just a damp cloth and just get it wiped off. What it's going to do is leave the caulking underneath and fill in the gaps on the paint. When you brush that paint on, make sure you paint it from tape to wall. Go in that motion all the way down. Once you pull that tape off, look at that. It's going to give you a nice, straight, crisp edge with no bleed under. Have you ever had a big paint project that requires a lot of brushing? Take you a brush. Go ahead and drill right at the top at an angle, a hole big enough to put a cap inside. This cap right here is perfect. What you're going to do is take some hot glue and glue it right on. When it gets on there and you let it dry, put some paint inside your bottle and screw it on. When you turn the brush over, it's going to allow it to drip really slow, but just at enough pace where you can just keep on painting and you never have to just keep dipping it. You can just keep going till you run out of paint. It makes a long project go much faster. And when you're done, it's easy to take that brush off, put a cap on the paint to keep it stored and fresh, and it's easy to clean. Just run some water right through that cap edge that stays on the brush, and it cleans right up inside and out. Have you ever painted a wall and forget what color it was or what type or brand? Perfect solution is when you pull your covers off of your outlets or your switches, you want to go ahead and write on the inside the name of the color, the brand that you got it from, and what type of gloss it is. Then you can go ahead and take your finger and just put a little bit of that sample paint on the inside, and when you put your cover back on, you always know it's right there for reference anytime you want to do some touch-up painting. Another thing that we always hate when we're painting is getting little drip marks either on doorknobs or hinges. Just take a little bit of Vaseline and just wipe it on those doorknobs. The great thing about it is, let's say you put some paint on there accidentally or it drips. It's so easy just to wipe right off. That Vaseline keeps it from sticking. No need to tape it up. Now it's time to lay some caulking in those places that it needs it so bad, especially around a tub. Take that caulking and go ahead and lay it on, but don't put it on too thick. Once you lay it in between your tub and the tile, just take a popsicle stick. Run it at an angle all the way down, and it gives you that perfect curve. Forget a perfect caulk line every time. Now here's a way to keep from wasting water in a leaky toilet. What you have to do is take the lid off the top and put some food dye in the back of the tank. Open up the lid and you're going to take a look. If you see that the water in the bowl is changing color, you've got a leak. It's most likely from your flapper inside. Go ahead and get that replaced and you'll save a lot of water that'll pay for that flapper. Last but not least, is your dryer not working as good as you think it should? Maybe you've got a buildup of lint. It's easy to get the lint out from the dryer. There's an area that you just can't get to. And if you try to use a vacuum, it just can't get inside those little grooves. Go ahead and grab the cardboard from a paper towel roll, and you're just going to squeeze it along its edges, not too tight, but just enough to squeeze through that little slot that it needs to get into. Put your vacuum on one end, turn it on, and you're going to go ahead and get in there and get all that lint out that's been trapped in there probably for years. I hope that this inspired you to come up with your own painting and home improvement hacks. Thank you for watching Home Talk, and we'll see you next time.
For over 20 years, I've painted probably close to 1,000 homes. I want to show you some tips and tricks that I have used throughout the years to make cleanup and painting as easy as possible. First thing you do when you take a nap for your roller out of the package, you're going to have some lint on it. Grab some painter's tape, string it out, put it on your foot just to hold it steady, and run that roller up and down the tape, and it's going to grab all the lint out. Look at this. The last thing you need is this on your wall. If you're like me, you hate it when the lid sticks to the can. One way to solve this problem is to grab some saran wrap, place it over the can, then you put the lid on top, and look at that. It'll cause a barrier and keep it airtight. If you do happen to get paint inside the lid on your can, all you got to do is grab a little nail, just like this one, and all you have to do is hammer it around the edge. Probably 4 good pops will do it, and as you can see, it leaves enough of a hole for the paint to drain out. Are you sick of paint fumes while you're painting? All you have to do is grab a little bit of vanilla. A tablespoon will be just enough. Add it to your paint, give it a good stir. It won't change the color of your paint, but it'll take away some of those paint fumes and may even make it smell like cookies. And are you painting quickly around a door or doorknob? All you got to do is grab some aluminum foil, put it up over the doorknob. It holds the shape very well. You paint real quick and you can remove it and use it later. Are you worried about your paintbrush drying out in between jobs? Go ahead and take a glove that you might be wearing, pull it up over the bristles on the brush, and there you go. Keeps it fresh, ready for next time. The worst thing you can do with your nap after you're done rolling is store it in a bad spot. If you lay it in your tray or up against the wall, what happens is it flattens the nap. The best thing for this is a Pringles can. Take the chips out, of course, store the nap inside the Pringles can with the lid, and it keeps it fresh every time, and it gives you chips to eat while you're painting. If you're like me and you like to paint right out of the can, don't use the edge of the can to wipe off your paint. Grab a rubber band, put it around the handles on the outside, put the rubber band together, and you've got the perfect squeegee to take off that excess paint off your brush. Now it's time for cleanup. The one thing you got to make sure is that brush is cleaned every time. Sometimes though, you leave a little bit of some residue on that brush. Over time it builds up. Go ahead and grab you a hair comb. Run it through those bristles, start with the coarse end, and then switch over to the fine end. What it's going to do is make that brush fresh and clean and look perfect every time. I hope these tips and tricks were great for you. Nothing like a fresh coat of paint, especially when springtime comes around, to make that house look good. Good luck, and I'm glad you joined us. We can't wait to see you again on Home Talk.